Good evening. Welcome to Birds of a Feather, the Coed edition. It's your girl AJ, the Suburban Princess, back with my co-ed Eddie B. What
Yo,
up?
what's going on? Still hyped up from that win?
I'm still kind of in shock, even though I think it was obvious that that game was going to be. I went back and watched our a little bit of our pod from a couple nights ago, and I realized everything I was worried about kind of was legit in a way, but then not really because Lane was still fine, even though I heard that his injury got worse. But at this
Oh,
point, he don't obviously homie is maintaining as best he can, but God, that he deserves a Hall of Famer jacket just for salute to Lane
yeah.
Johnson out there. Because
Oh,
I,
yeah.
how do you just manage to just that muscle just dank? Anyway, gross.
Yeah,
But
he,
yes, what was your overall feeling of the game? Because it looked like it kind of lost its steam early, obviously with what happened to Brock Purdy.
well, yeah, I mean, the Eagles did what they were supposed to. I mean, they they saw an opportunity. Quarterback was out, so they took advantage of the fact that there was a backup then. The fourth back, third string, fourth
He's a
string
third.
guy.
He was a third stringer
It was a
because
fourth
technically,
string. The fourth
yeah,
string guy came in
yeah,
at
because
this
Josh
point.
Johnson came out and then we took care of him too. So
Yeah,
well,
so I mean, and the thing is, people like so many of these fans were like crying, but injuries are part of the game. They're part
they
of the
are,
game. You
and
know,
nothing
we
vindictive. We all
and
kind of
and it,
knew.
and it's not like it was from a dirty hit or anything. They're all clean hits. Like Hassan, there was a clean. He was going for the ball. And
He
then
just happened to get caught up.
and also when he tackled Johnson, he kind of gave him a concussion. But it wasn't a dirty hit though.
No, because the way he
Yeah,
fell back is really what made the concussion because his
yeah,
head snapped back. And most of the time,
yeah.
usually, if you're not suspecting it, you most likely will collapse going back like that. But if you are
Mhm.
expecting it, you kind of know how to collapse, like to
Yeah,
the point
without
where you're
having your
not.
head bang off the
Yeah.
ground. Yeah.
So that just shows you how quick he reacted, which shows you that shout out to Hassan Reddick, Temple's own, who just went
Mhm.
crazy during that
Oh
whole
yeah.
game.
I
But
think it was the being snubbed for not even nominated for defensive player of the year. I think that kind of gave him some fuel.
well, I
Yeah.
mean, him and BG had tons of thing, and you said yourself, you don't think you could handle the pass rush, and clearly, that was obvious. What was the thing that took it out loud?
Because my thing was everybody was like, oh well, if Purdy stayed in the game, uh, they would have won. I was like,
No, not
mm,
really. Because even if he had
I
sucked
don't
it up, if
know.
he, if he had had a decent amount of feeling, I don't think he would have had the same trajectory. I mean,
Well, they said, oh,
trajectory.
well, they were just saying if he didn't get hurt. I was like, but still, they were still in his face every play. Like
He
so,
would have still been off. Like even if he had
yeah,
gotten injured, he might have not have been accurate. Like that's the
yeah.
thing.
I mean, they were harassing him like crazy. So, I mean, I don't know how you think that you know, and the Eagles still put up 31 points against the best defense in the league.
Yeah,
So,
and Dallas gave them headaches too the week before. So,
yeah,
but the whole thing is their record coming in here was no different from like us coming into the same game. It was a
yeah.
great record, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to how you show up when it matters. And that game was all or nothing. And so obviously
Defense came
defense
out
played.
hungry.
They came out with their hair on fire.
Yeah.
They did everything they had to do. The
Hmm.
bottom line was, like you said, was it a whimper halfway through? Yeah, because by 21-7, you kind of realized the game was over.
Yeah, well,
But
they wore him down. They wore that defense down. I
they
mean,
really did.
they're the best against the run. They never give up 150 yards almost.
No, and that's why I
And
say you knew that
and
game
they
was lopsided.
and they did. They gave 150 yards and four rushing touchdowns. Like, wow. Like,
But didn't I tell you too? I said I think this is going to be more of a running game because I didn't think Jalen had to throw that much, and even when he
and
did, you
and
see
that's
what happened.
I'm glad he didn't have to. You
You
know,
know,
rest
but
his shoulder, rest his
we have,
shoulder a little bit. I mean,
yeah,
because the 49ers they have a good secondary. So I mean,
and they got a good hit on him that one run he did.
yeah.
They got him good. I mean, you could tell he was slow to get up.
But
He kind of leaned on Lane.
but did you notice that he every time he dropped back, he rarely got touched.
No, I agree, but I think that's
They
also when
rarely
he chose
touched
to
him.
run. Yeah,
Yeah, when he
the
ran, he
first
got hit.
run.
But I'm talking about like sitting back in the pocket or whatever.
Oh, no, no, no,
They
no,
never
because
touched him.
I think
Never
the
touched him.
commentators even said they like
Yeah.
he has a lot of time, and so obviously they were covering very well because for him to have overthrown AJ, and then even with Devonta with that incredible one-handed catch that really technically wasn't a catch,
Yeah, but you know
um,
what? Every
we
team
don't
does
care.
that.
We didn't see it.
Every team does that though. If they
Yeah,
think there's not a catch, they jump up and they get to the line real quick.
And that's the thing.
and
That's why they said that was the giveaway that
and
Shanahan
that's
didn't
completely
want on.
Shanahan's fault.
That is his fault.
He should have threw the flag if he had an inkling that it was not a catch. He should have threw it.
Yeah, because that's why, like you said, that's the giveaway. When you're rushing, you're telling everybody to hurry up and get in the huddle
Yeah,
or hurry up and get lined up. That means he knew he didn't have it. But
and
honestly, looking at every playback, do you think until they showed that angle that he had dropped it? No.
no,
He had the possession up until he hit the ground.
yeah,
So I really do wonder, and I agree with what I forget who just said it last night on the podcast. They just said, I still don't understand when a catch is a catch. It still makes you question what exact to me once you catch it, and then the minute you hit the ground, anything could happen to me. You know what
yeah.
they
Well,
used
you
to
know how
say?
it's supposed to work. You're supposed to survive the ground. And the thing is, when he's tucking it in, he hits.
Right.
He still has it at that point, but then it starts to come
It's
out.
starting to slip, right.
Yeah,
But
so
to me, throughout the whole catch, considering how it technically could have went past him had a Devonta not extended, um,
mhm.
that's an
That was a
incredible possession.
crazy. Yeah, that was
As
crazy.
soon as it happened, I was like, I tweeted Devonta. I'm like, I can't believe you. But
The
then I'm
fact that
never
he was even
shocked.
able to pull that in. I
Now, and that's
mean,
all we expect from Quez because you had asked me at Quez get at possession. Now I think they did the replay earlier, and I think I don't think he did. I think that he got overthrown.
yeah.
Because that was one on the
I
sideline that
don't
he
know. I
was
don't know if
almost
he even
supposed to
got.
get go
I don't know
over.
if he even got a target.
I think that was the only
Quez.
one. That was the
Yeah.
only one that he had someone on him directly and it went over him. So he wouldn't have
Yeah.
caught it anyway. But at least it wasn't one of those things where a guy got in front of him. It was just
And just took
it
the
was
ball
out.
from him. Yeah. Right.
But and let's just talk about how both with coincidentally with the Eagles win and the Mahomes win, that both quarterbacks are surviving through injury.
Injuries. Yeah.
Even more Mahomes with a high ankle sprain, which is
Oh,
not fun.
that's not fun. Yeah.
I mean, he's wincing every other snap, even though he's
I mean,
trying to do his little step.
it's hard to even drive. You can't. It's like you try to throw the deep ball. You got to drive on your off your foot. That's gonna hurt.
I mean, him and Jalen in this Super Bowl, it's not going to be that incredible deep pass,
Well, I think
wherewithal. A
yeah.
free for all that you think it's supposed to be.
I think Jalen has a better shot at throwing a deep ball because he can follow through with his
Which is
throw.
ironic because you could tell, like, wherever the injury is hitting him, he's
Yeah.
only probably going to get a good shot of being accurate maybe 2 out of 3 times he attempts it,
Yeah,
you
but
know?
I mean, your footwork can compensate for that. Like you can follow
Yeah,
through.
compared
Yeah.
to Mahomes, he does have a better shot of hitting his deep ball, but clearly he was off. The offense wasn't really doing much until the running game cranked up. And of course, good old Boston Scott got his butt in there. Obviously, Miles got 2, which is weirdly enough, I tweeted at him like a nerd and was like, I hope you get 2 touchdowns. And he
And
did.
he did.
And I couldn't even believe it. The first one I kind of saw, but the second one I didn't. So I was like, holy crap, he got 2.
Yeah.
So, and then Jalen, of course, had to get his own
I
because
mean, that
that's
one
what
he
he
got, he
does.
didn't even get touched.
He didn't
Nobody
get touched.
touched him. It was like he just fought right in.
Did you think about what I said too with the pod? Did you think about Kelsey once they got into that hole? The more they had
Uh
to push because remember I kept telling you I said how miserable he must
yeah.
feel when he gets up.
We
I
had to
didn't
do
see
that.
him hit his hand on his hips this time, but I could
I
tell.
didn't yeah, I didn't see that part. I was
Yeah.
looking, but I was like, oh
Every time
yeah.
they show the pile up, I go, "Oh, poor Kelsey. It's just one more,
But you know what?
one more game of this."
Hats off to that O line though. I mean, they did a job against a
No,
good
come on.
defense. I
No,
mean,
it's amazing.
look at Bosa was
Yeah.
ineffective.
Bosa was hurt early actually in the game as well. So that's why he was kind of gimpy. That's why now, of course, when you watch Baldy's interpretations the next morning, he is good to point out the stuff that you didn't see.
Did you see
And
Mulata?
yes, the pancake from Malata on Boza, it was
Oh my
wonderful.
god!
Considering how
But
whatever
did
he
you?
must have said prior
Somebody
wasn't
was like,
valid anymore.
somebody was like, yeah, it is like, oh yeah, he had time to sit there and just breathe on him, and he was like, and then
At first, it just
somebody
seemed like he
said,
was just going to push him, and then he just was like,
oh yeah, they just lay on him, don't move, and
Bosa just
just don't
rolling
move.
like, oh shit, here it comes.
And that's almost 400 pounds, right? That's 400 pounds
See,
laying on you.
that's why I said even Nick
Yeah.
probably at that point was like, yeah, this is gonna
So
work.
did you see the meme that somebody was like, as he falls on him, because you know there's this big thing about Bosa being like a big time Republican or whatever,
Yeah, racist. Yeah,
and
I called
yeah,
him a
being
racist last
racist,
pod. Yeah, I know.
and
I don't know if he is. He could just be an elitist. I don't know.
yeah, whatever,
Elitist,
uh,
racist, kind of the same thing to me.
same
But
shit,
anyway,
yeah,
yeah,
whatever.
same shit, different day. His
Yeah,
brother's a
so
nut too.
they both are.
They
So
both are.
somebody said he whispered. Somebody said when Mulatto was on top of him, he whispered Biden 2024. I was like, in his ear. I was like, yo.
They tried to even go as far as say the towel that he had on his head looked like a hood. So someone tried to point out when he was
Oh,
walking off the field that they said, "Look at him wearing his costume." I said, "That's a
but
damn
the
shame."
one thing is, I lost some respect to some of the 49ers players in that they were
Oh, well,
like
that fight came out of
the
nowhere.
fight and the stuff they said after the game too.
Oh, well,
Like some of the stuff, I'm just like, you lost. Just
but I mean,
stop making excuses. Like you lost.
that's how the same thing it was even after the Eagles beat the Patriots that year. Nobody expected us to. This is where I say the underdog stuff never leaves us, because even if we're not technically underdogs anymore,
Mhm.
they still do not want us to have that glory, because they don't
Yeah.
think that Philadelphia knows how to maintain a championship dynasty. And then on top of that, there's just very little respect that the
Hmm.
big teams have for us, because they look at us like, if you get by, you were lucky.
Yeah.
And this whole game again, I'm sick of the narratives. I mean, everyone's going to say, well, you got that game because he got hurt. I'm like, no, we hurt both your quarterbacks and y'all had no comeback, period. So
Hmm.
don't be mad because they were tuned in and you weren't. Like, that's the
Yeah.
bottom line. And both teams were shaking, and most of the guys were shaking even after that scrimmage. And let's be real, Trent Williams has always been a bully, so let's not be shocked. And Dominican Sue was ready for that ass as soon as he tried to get into somebody else's face.
Yeah, but I just couldn't believe, like, come on, you're a veteran. Why you gonna sit there and rat? He took Kayvon Wallace. He could have really hurt him too.
No, Kayvon Wallace, poor
The
guy.
way
I feel
the
like
way
that
he
boy gets treated like shit
the way
all
he
since
threw
he got
Wallace,
here.
but you know what? Wallace got right back up and got in his face though, right after he threw him down.
At first, I thought it
He
was
jumped.
Kaiser. I
He
thought it was
jumped.
Kaiser White he threw, because I wasn't sure
Nah, that
what
was
the number
Kayvon.
was.
Yeah, it was 42.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think he would have kind of thrown Kaiser White now, but I just saw a 4, and I thought at first it was one of
I
the
mean, you're talking
linemen,
about a guy you give
I
up
mean
almost
linebackers.
100, almost what, 80 pounds to?
The point is, it wasn't necessary, and I don't know
It
if
wasn't.
he was just getting really extra, and then the
No, they were
fact
getting
that
frustrated. Yeah, that's what
right,
it was. Yeah.
and both Quince going back to Jalen and Mahomes, both also got pushed out of bounds necessarily. You would think people would know past the white line.
Yeah.
Don't push somebody after you cross the white line. Like, the play is dead at
Yeah,
that
you
point. I
saw
don't care if you don't hear the whistle.
you saw your boy, right?
Yeah,
Your boy went after him after he did that.
Dallas and AJ went after both
Yep.
those guys. They had to push Dallas away, but AJ was already walking past. Just, you can tell when AJ's trying to subtly like cuss you out. Like, he's just shaking
Yeah.
his head, walking past. Like, you try it again. You try it again.
One of the other players grabbed Dallas because he was ready to jump into his face.
And that's the thing. I'm just waiting for Dallas to fight. I'm almost just like, just let him go.
Well, you know what?
Homie strapped. Like, he's not afraid.
They're
He's got
protecting
that
their
Midwestern
quarterback.
rage.
Protecting their quarterback. So that
Right. And
was
that's honestly the first thing you should do. I mean, how many times did he go back to that game where, Nick Foles got pushed, and how quick did our bodyguard jump up in that dude's face, knock the shit
hmm.
out of him too, which I love. That was the
Yeah.
only time I really loved Jason at
Oh
that
yeah.
point. He pushed that dude in the face so his head snapped back. Like, don't you think of doing that again?
Yeah, right.
So, but it's your first instinct, and you see as soon as they grabbed Jalen when he got up, all he did was go.
Yeah, right.
He was
Brushed
just
it
trying to
off.
say like,
Well,
nah, crap.
luckily he just kind of slid after the guy hit him. It wasn't like
Yeah,
a
and at that point, it was more
impact.
just he tripped into people and the guy that fell over him. I was more worried about the dude he tripped into, because everybody like
Oh
fell
yeah, those guys, because
forward.
they don't even know, because they don't even see it coming half the time. Those
No, they
guys,
don't, and they're all the way off, so it's not even like they're on the
they
field.
don't
So,
see it. Sometimes their back is to the game,
and
and
that's cement, like, that's no more turf. So you have to
nope.
consider if somebody hits their head. That's why
Oh
when
yeah,
I like when some players check on the photographers when they run on into them by
yeah,
accident, because you don't know if somebody popped their eye or
or
got a
yeah,
concussion, or
yep,
you know what I mean? Like, you're not on turf. So, but that was one of those moments that I was like, all right, this is where you know the other team's getting frustrated because they have no comeback. I mean, you're talking about only 7 points. And the
yeah,
Eagles gave them times when they had that little lull that always happens, in the third, fourth quarter, where the game actually felt really long at one point. And I was sitting there
yeah.
going, okay, this needs to be over, you
And the
know?
thing is, they only scored because they had a short field.
Well, and we need to talk about the punter situation. Like,
What's
it's
his
time to go
name?
back.
Yo,
Like,
he's
it was just
is
too
Sip off
much.
better yet? Because he's hard. This guy's
He has to
horrible.
be. And I think someone said they most likely will be going back to Sipos for
Hopefully
the
he's
Super
okay,
Bowl,
because this
because
guy
it's just
Hen,
unfair.
Henny, what's his name, Henny, or whatever, whatever his
Yeah, yeah,
name
yeah,
is.
yeah.
He's so bad. Like, and I get it. You know what? That was stupid because that did hit the wire. When you
It
saw
did. No, I agree with him.
because
I agree with him. And then
Elliot's
they
looking right,
show it hanging.
Elliot's looking right at it.
Right. They all said, and then the fact this is when you know when it was lazy, because the rest were just like, there
Well,
is
we
no
can't
foul because
tell.
we don't see anything. Basically saying we don't feel like
But
reviewing
the
that
thing
shit.
is, you
Okay.
see the ball go up, and then all of a sudden it's fluttering. I'm like,
That's what Missinelli said at the end of the post show. He was like, it was clear the trajectory of the ball
it
hit something.
changed. Yeah.
So yeah, but that's how
Yeah,
you know they don't want to. They don't take the
yeah, they
time.
just didn't care. They was like,
They didn't
whatever.
care, and they were just more like, "We there's no proof," is what they said. How many times have we heard that
I
during
mean,
the Eagles
granted,
Cowboys game?
yeah,
There's no evidence.
yeah, he's a bad kicker, but he ain't that bad now. Come on,
No, no, no. It was I think a Brett Kern. That's who it was. It was
Brett
Brett
Kern,
Kern.
yeah,
Yeah, he
yeah,
was having a bad night, and the fact that you can't blame the Eagles for the 49ers not capitalizing on such easy field. They had
yeah.
so much field.
Well, that's the only time they scored was when they had what they were at the 50 or the 40.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But even
That's
so, they had some other times too. That's why I'm saying, like,
well, yeah.
don't
Well,
get mad 'cause you couldn't
we
score
stopped
again.
them. Yeah, they stopped them one time.
Right.
They had short field, but the one short field they scored a touchdown on. Okay.
And honestly, that just made sense at that point anyway, because after that they couldn't get any successful offensive things going to connect because
Well,
if
yeah,
they weren't connecting or Jalen wasn't throwing or couldn't find anybody, he had to throw out of bounds. There just wasn't much to work with. So he's not gonna force it
yeah.
when they already had the lead. Because honestly, I didn't expect them to score any more after that. I didn't and the fact that it was only literally a touchdown away from repeating the same score from the previous
I
game.
know. I was like, are we gonna get the same score again?
I know people sitting there who
Well,
are better.
they kind of took their foot off the gas after a minute. Though they were just like, all right, we're
They
just
did.
gonna.
They
You see
did.
Jalen hand the ball off and literally walk towards the sideline, like
Because
every time, like he
yeah.
just to get
It's
away
like
from the
why?
play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like
So
it's not even worth even taking further hits, you
yeah.
know. It's only the people who bet who are probably pissed because they were betting on the total and the over. They're sitting there
Hey,
going,
look.
God, you couldn't just do it one more time for me.
Hey, look. The defense. We had a dominant performance. So hey,
Hey, they won
they
the
can get mad and be butthurt all they want about this game, and that's what they get. They should next thing just they want they just notice that just keep your hands off of the Rocky statue. Come to town and play a game. Stop doing what everybody else does. And you see what happened? Every time they do it, it's a rout.
and that's why I said like
It's a
I
rout
I
every
just
time.
watched New Heights today and Jason said no, Travis said Chiefs fans don't do this. Don't put nothing on the Rockies.
No,
He straight up said
let them. But they won't
that's
be
what I
here, so it
said
doesn't
because
matter. They
I
won't be
was
here,
tired
so it
of
don't
it.
matter.
Right, it doesn't really matter. But at the end of
Yeah.
the day, then he backed up and said, if you're gonna do it, don't put my number on. He was like, don't put 87 on the statue if you have to do it.
Have people get mad at him, right?
Right, right. Or give it to Mahomes and be like, Mahomes doesn't probably care about that crap. So it's like, put his jersey up there. But
It
look,
should
we can't help
be
it if we got transplants, first of all, that live in the area. There's a lot
yeah,
of people who
it
aren't Eagles
happens. Yeah.
fans, and they just probably do it just Jason Kelsey said he thinks it's also Philly fans just fucking around. And then everybody just gravitates to it. He's like, he thinks it's like a homegrown person who thinks it's a joke, and then everybody goes to it.
Hey,
But
well,
either way, it helps
but
us, but
yeah,
and what it did was it caused a lot of cross pollination with the following with that same night with the whole controversy with the Empire State Building showing green and white, which pissed a lot of New Yorkers off because they're like, why are we celebrating our rival? And I'm just like, because your division was won by, one of your people in your division. But I
yeah.
agree. I wouldn't want my city putting Dallas lights off if they beat us in the chance,
Oh yeah, fuck
that would
that.
be
Yeah,
forbidden.
no.
So even if you're trying to be nice and we are the world, nobody cares. And then they
Yeah,
tried to soften it by putting the Kansas City Chiefs colors later, but nobody cared about that. It
yeah,
was just the
buddy.
fact that the Eagles colors were on the Empire State Building.
Just give him another reason to hate us. That's all.
Well,
You know.
you know what? Honestly, considering the fact that they're going to stay with Daniel Jones, it's like next year, don't be shocked because I'm like, y'all have plenty of opportunities to tweak your whole roster. And if you're still losing, because this time we beat y'all 3 times, I don't think we beat anybody in the division that many times.
Mhm.
So you got another
Handedly too. Not even like
handedly, yeah.
yeah,
Nothing was given to them. Nothing like because of injury created the win. Like it was fair and square. Now we just got to do that to Dallas next season because I'm ready to get them all the way. Like I was kind of hoping we would play them one more time because I wanted to win with Jalen as opposed to Garner.
yeah.
So, but they did whip their butts the first time, so I guess it wasn't really necessary. But there's nothing more sweeter than knowing that your actual division rival is salty, because they have no answer
Oh,
for you.
now they're questioning what they're gonna do with their quarterback situation. You know.
Yeah, but you know what? There's so many. Here's the thing. Even if they decided to go away from Daniel Jones, I really don't feel like they have anything other than a rookie to come
No,
back and.
I was talking about the Cowboys. They're
I was
questioning
talking about the
their
Cowboys. Oh yeah, well,
because yeah, they were saying they're actually talking about that on Speak today, like Shady and Joy and
going from Dak.
Emmanuel Ancho talking about what are they gonna do with the quarterback situation, like now that they're so committed to Dak, and Dak is can't win the big game.
And that's the thing. That's a hard thing because the situation we know with Dak is that I don't think he's a bad quarterback necessarily. I do think he tries to do too much, clearly. and I think he may have that trying to look like the superhero mentality that Wentz used to have here, and that
Hmm.
always gets you in trouble. So
Yeah.
I think that's probably Dak's problem. I don't feel like it's also that easy money wise to get rid of someone you just paid.
Well,
So you're kind of strapped no matter
well,
how
they're
you
yeah,
all go.
they should would if they were smart, they would have signed him earlier instead of waiting so long.
And hence
The
why I bring Wentz into it, because I
the
go back to
fact
what I always
the
told you. I
fact
think
that
he should have waited.
well the fact no they waited too long though because
No, yeah, for him, yes, but it's still
they
the
paid
option.
end up paying 40 a year instead of 30 a year for him.
And at first they
Now
probably didn't want to do that.
and that accounts for 20% of your cap. And then okay, so what do you do now? How do you get other skills players around this guy if you can't pay anybody else? So
And
that's just
I'm wondering too if it's an O line thing too. I mean, is their O line as good as their D line? Maybe is that why Dak's getting
I mean
real.
their O line used to be good,
They used
but
to be, because I feel like that's also a reason why he's overcompensating too.
well yeah
I mean,
well
not that I care, it's Dallas, fuck them, but at the same time,
yeah
I was glad
exactly
that Dak got his money, but at this point, I'm more like that's rich people problems.
well but
We pretty much settled our core over here finally. Now we know
yeah
we're gonna lose some people, but that's why all the more reason them being the Super Bowl to me is good karma for putting in the work.
yeah
Our
well
team is truly blue collar
yeah
surviving.
we draft. I mean we focus like they say the game is won in the trenches. Like we always made sure we had depth in O line and defensive line.
Yeah, that was important.
That's just it's important. That's where you win the game at the line of scrimmage. So you know man, we got the probably the one of the we've got going in history as one of the best offensive lines, and is they have to. If they don't, it's a shame if they don't. You
It's a
know,
shame because I just feel like they've, like you said, for once they did it right within those last couple of years since Hertz got on board, was that they slowly placed pieces around him that made sense. And they
hmm
weren't trying to wait, to see how he was going to do and not build. They did the same. They did both. So
yeah.
now it's just an issue, like you said, of when would they pay Hertz. To me, that's always tricky.
I think they should just pay him. If we want to, just pay the man. Just
I
don't
mean,
wait.
honestly,
Don't wait for the market to blow up. Just pay
yeah.
him because then you're gonna screw yourself, and then you won't be able to afford anybody else
Well,
if you
they raised
don't.
the cap, didn't they recently? I just
Yeah,
read.
it's going up, but but if we wait
Yeah.
another year, the market for QB is going to go up too.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, between Hertz's number and then whatever happens with Lamar, I think those are the two quarterbacks I'm curious about how they're gonna cash in, in the
mhm,
next like couple months, because after the Super Bowl is come and gone, that's gonna be the focus.
yeah,
How much did Hertz get paid? Is Lamar staying a Raven, and is he getting paid? I mean, that's always gonna be in the
yeah,
back of everyone's mind in the postseason. Plus the obvious changes that are happening with coaches and staff switching up. I just read that Deuce now left Detroit and is gonna go under Frank Reich in Carolina.
mm,
So I'm happy for Deuce, because if he's going to
yeah,
be a
it's good.
coordinator as opposed to an assistant, whatever it is, it should be a promotion for him
Yeah,
at this point. So eventually
you
he
saw
could be in line.
and D'Amico was
Yeah,
going to take
D'Amico
over
to
the
the Texans.
Texans. Yeah, good to see another black head
I
coach
mean, I'm
there.
happy for him to be a coach. I think the
Yeah,
organization is crap, but obviously he
yeah,
has to work
he's got his
somewhere.
work cut out for him.
I mean, he used to play there. I keep forgetting. Like,
Yeah,
if knowing that he used to play there, that makes sense. But I know he was also Eagle at 1.2.
yeah,
But I just feel like if the core of that front office is anything, that the way they did with the whole Deshaun situation, I'm hoping that there's people that are really actually have a good interest with him in mind, and like don't just hold him to dry for 1 year, even though he's got a 6-year deal.
oh
Like, I
yeah,
hope they
well,
don't try to play him and like backdoor him somehow later, because it's going to take
yeah,
a while for them to get. They got to get a quarterback too. That other guy there isn't going to last. Um,
nah.
but
Well, I
I
mean,
mean,
they got a high draft pick this year, so we'll see what
as
happens.
they should have a
Yeah,
lot of draft picks, because their team is screaming for help. But
yeah,
anyway, moving on. But it was a great game. I think the only thing that was disappointing was that the fact it wasn't very challenging as much as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a real good battle, and it just kind of whimpered as the game went on because of obviously the injuries. So, and it kind of just really didn't give you the feeling that you thought you'd watch two great teams. It became a rout,
yeah.
essentially. So, and they
Well,
could have really milked it. They could have scored one more time if they wanted to. Like, even that Kenny Gainwell was
yeah, like I
kind of a
said,
giveaway.
they did take their foot off the gas for a little bit, which is fine.
They did, but
You
I'm glad
know,
Kenny got that one
mm,
touchdown in though, because
yeah,
he was pretty much running wrecking shop, between him and Miles and Boston. I felt
hmm
like they did the work that needed to be done. Even if Jalen wasn't
yeah,
connecting all the time, Sometimes you, like I said, you always don't need you can't always have AJ and Devonta having a great game without everybody
Yeah.
else contributing.
And look, he had decent stats. Yeah, he only threw for 100 something yards, but
Yeah,
his completion percentage was solid.
yeah.
So I mean,
And Purdy
can't
was 4
can't
for 4 before he got injured. So
can't get mad about that. Yeah,
no, but so anyway, so as we look on, we still got a week and a half still left of all this,
I know
talk
this is
and stuff like
brutal.
that.
This is
This
brutal.
is the waiting period we all hate, right? Because we know what's going to happen. Everybody's just going to rehash the same shit over and over again for 2 weeks,
Hmm.
media wise.
Yeah.
But we know that also this is exciting because the Sixers are still playing, so we have something else to watch. The Flyers are, I think they're in All Star week now, so um,
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I
So
think only Konechny is the only one that's the All Star. I'm not sure if he's even there or not, but um, and their coach uh was on Best Show Ever today, basically being honest, which I appreciate him being honest that they still got a ways to go, and he
well,
doesn't,
they do. Yeah.
he still feels like some guys need to. He said basically, he said there's going to be some vets that are going to go, and we need some young people, and I was just like, skirt. He basically said no one here is safe,
Well, it's his first
which I
year with the
like.
team too. I mean, he's gonna have to make some changes.
Well, I just like it because
Yeah.
they don't. We're not used to hearing that up front. We're used to hearing all the soft stuff because they don't want fans to get at this point, Flyer fans, if they're still even going to these games at this point,
Mm.
God bless you all because y'all know y'all are under construction for at least another 3 years.
Yeah. This is gonna be a project.
I mean, us Eagle fans and Sixer fans have done our time too, so y'all know.
Yeah.
Um, the Flyers have potential because, like I always go back to say, they were almost close to the cup before lockdown started. Never forget
Yeah,
because
they were looking good before
they were
lockdown started.
borderline
Yeah.
Stanley Cup Finals. They were
And
really good, and
then the wheels fell off. Then that was
life
that.
just stopped
Yeah.
and paused all action. I mean, there were actually good things happening in all sports at that moment, literally before lockdown. Like, I'll never forget that last Sixer game because I remember kept thinking, I was like, that was the one game that Mike Scott decided to just dunk out of nowhere. And I was like, where the hell did that come from? And they won that game. And then all of a sudden, everything was like, skirt. It was like, damn, we were just
Yeah.
trying to get a good streak going. And now it's like no games, nothing. So
Yeah.
if you go back and look back at any of the old seasons when Jalen first started playing, you'll see why everything that's happening now with the Eagles makes sense. He just made
Hmm.
things run smoother. Things seemed less stressed when he was in the lineup. So, no, not even a shot for Wentz. It was just Wentz overstayed his welcome. And I think he still does not understand mentally how to
Hmm.
adjust as a quarterback. And that's becoming obvious with
Yeah.
him ending up in Washington.
Well,
So
you can
that's
tell
why.
he doesn't know how to check his ego either. You
No,
know.
he stays to a certain way that he knows, and he feels like no one else knows him better than himself. That's fine and good,
Yeah.
but you're still on the bench, So either
Hmm.
you're gonna have to just suck up that whole "I'm never gonna be a backup, I want to be a starter" shit because
Yeah. Yeah.
your mo
And
soon
yeah.
if you want to
I
be in the
mean,
league.
and we never had to worry about these guys will follow Jalen through fire.
Right?
Like, you don't have to
No, that's
worry
not a
about that.
question
You
because
know.
Jalen led by example. He didn't talk
Yeah.
about it. He was about it.
Hmm.
That's the difference. So, to all those who don't understand why the Eagles are here, that's why. Because it took literally almost 2 years to get this stuff off the road. And
Yeah.
it took a lot of patience from us fans because we were sick of the switches. We
Oh,
were sick of feeling left in the dark. And now that we
yeah.
feel like everything is gelling in front of our eyes, yeah, did we
It's
deserve a Super Bowl? Yes. Is it shocking? Yes. But
mhm.
we didn't expect 2017 to end up how it did. So, again,
and
it's
this
a great surprise.
and this team is clearly more talented than that one,
Yeah. And I'm
which
not
is
even going to debate that.
which is crazy. Like
Well, I
you
mean,
look at it,
after
like
2017, did we honestly think at that point after a while it was starting to seem like a fluke? Like it just was
yeah,
lightning in a bottle? Because
yeah.
we could never get that
I
energy
mean,
back.
it was a solid team, but it was just like
Right. It faded quickly,
yeah,
regardless of whether or not we could keep some of the free agents. It was just the fact that they couldn't reproduce the same magic.
yeah,
So the difference is after this season, even if some guys leave, if they still have that same energy, which to me starts with Jalen, then it has nothing to do with additional players. It's just a mentality that they have
yeah,
maintained throughout the team, no matter who stays and who goes.
yeah. I think as long as Jalen is there, and I mean, and Sirianni fosters that culture of winning, and clearly like not just winning, but also like family. We're here for each other,
Yeah.
kind of deal. And I love that message that he puts out there with them. He says, "Look, he said, just we're playing for each other. Just got one more game. Let's just go." And that's he keeps that mentality going. Like I said, these guys will love him forever. I didn't realize he there was an article about him that how he literally talks to every player, brings each player in his office all the time, just talk to him about
Oh,
random
he's the
stuff.
office?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess they do. I guess they would. I
Yeah,
guess I've never seen that. Obviously, I
yeah,
would.
just randomly, like, oh, what are you gonna talk about? You don't even talk
Yeah,
about football half the time. They say because one of the guys was saying, Quez was like, yeah, we're talking about family and stuff. Like we're just talking about this. He's talking about that. No,
if you want to see what you're,
he
yeah,
actually gets he gets to know his players,
he gets intimate with them
which is
because that's
great.
important. Because if you're going
Yeah,
to have a relationship, intimacy is important, even in professional football,
yeah, he
because
sees
you
them as
can't
his
fake that.
family. That's
Right.
his family. That's his other family. He says it all the time.
Because he's
It's
always
my
there.
Yeah,
He's
it's my
always there
family
working
here. This is
out.
my
Yeah.
family there. Why wouldn't
Yeah.
you want to
Like,
have that feeling? Like I'm gonna be in a miserable place, 24/7, and
right. And at the end of
yeah,
the day, like, if you don't believe that someone actually is your teammate, like for real, it'll show as the season goes on.
hmm
Like eventually you peace out on a route, or you just kind of, you're not in the
and
huddle, then he knows,
that's what I love about this group. They will lay down on nails for each other, which is
and hold each
great.
other accountable. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. At the same
I
time,
just
yeah.
saw a clip that Slay was co-signing the fact that he bailed out because he was scared of Trent Williams laying on him, because he was like, he goes, he said, he literally tweeted, I saw 71 come around the corner and I got scared for my life. And
Yo,
then
but
when I saw the clip, I cracked up because he sure enough did. He kind of moved back like, you
did
ain't
you
trying to
hear?
get me.
Did you hear what he said about Christian McCaffrey though? He was like, man,
No, what did he say?
he was like, he said, this guy, he's like, hey, I thought I had him, but then next thing you know, I didn't have him. I was
Well,
like,
because he
he's like,
broke 4 tackles, right? He
yeah,
jumped
that
over
one on that
somebody,
one
ran
run,
past.
yeah, that one
Yeah,
run he had. He was like, he took Epps. Epps went to go get him. Next, you know, he jumped over Epps, and he was like, and then I thought I had an angle on him, and next, you know, I missed him too. I was like, he was like, what the hell is going on?
but see, that's why I love Slade too, because at least he'll come out and say like, yeah, but he'll make you laugh about it because he'll be like, yeah, I
Yeah,
look dumb, but it's all right,
yeah,
But that was a great run. I mean, respect to Christian McCaffrey. Like,
yeah,
had he been totally healthy too, and even if Brock had went out, had they used him more, he might have been their saving grace, because he also was going to end up being their emergency QB, which I
yeah.
kind of hoping was going to happen just for shits and giggles. I was like, I really want to see if he can quarterback,
Mhm.
because they gave him the helmet,
Well,
and
just
I
expect
said
a
this
lot of
will
wild.
be good TV.
You expect a lot of Wildcat. That's all.
Right.
Yeah,
No, but it's fine. It just was
yeah,
something because it was getting so boring. Because at that
yeah,
point you knew what the momentum was going. So I was like, just give me something to watch. Like give him the helmet. But
yeah.
then he tweaked himself and it was like, all right, they're all just going
Well, he
down.
was already playing with a calf injury, so I mean,
Right, he
that's just.
was. But he's such a he is a fast mother effer, I tell you. Between him and like
They were
who's the
saying how
other?
he reminds you of Slade was saying he reminds him of how Barry Sanders used to run. Like he was
Yeah,
saying
and
like
now I
he's
gotta go
like
back and
just
watch that. Yeah.
elusive, like just
He really is. Like
and
the
he's
fact that he
and he's strong enough to break tackles too. So it's like
that's why that run was really big. Like even any Eagle fan watching that play knew, they're like, "Oh, he's gone. He is just
yeah,
gone." So, but anyway, all right. So tie this all up. I just want to also take the time. Eddie will have to bear with me while I sit here and mourn. The one thing about having this championship, which is so lovely to see everybody celebrate with their family, seeing
hmm
Jalen on the podium, everybody celebrating. Never we don't care that not AJ didn't know the words of Fly Eagles Fly. I didn't realize the second line was Fight Eagles Fight. I'm one of them people who still thought it was Fly
really
Eagles Fly. I didn't
you
know
didn't
it was
know
Fight
that?
Eagles Fight. No. And I said, because I guess when people are drunk, it all sounds the same. Like to me, I'm like, aren't we saying the
Yeah.
same thing over and over again? But long story short, not even Jalen singing that badly was fun. What
Yo,
really cracked me up was
I got to
when
tell
you
you
see
about
it.
something later about that. It's hilarious.
Oh, what about Jalen Hurts
Yeah,
singing?
singing. Yeah, it's so
Oh,
funny.
okay. Well, let me just tell you, not only the fact that we did witness Anita Baker singing the national anthem, we also saw a lot of players who had never shown their significant others out in the field. I've seen Slay's wife. I follow Slay's wife on Twitter. She kind of puts herself out there a lot because she makes this banana pudding at the Fourth
Oh,
of July
the
tailgate.
team loves it. Yeah.
The team loves it. She puts this little cookie in it, so she has a cute
Did,
little business going.
did you hear
Hopefully
what Slay said? He says he won't even make it for him.
for
He said
him, and
he
he goes,
makes
"I
it for
had to help her out with it
he
today.
said
That's why I'm good."
he said he makes like, she'll make it for the team before she makes it for me. I'm like,
He said she put her foot in this stuff, and then he kept saying, oh, like
yeah,
that. But he was funny, but it was also different to see Dallas Goddard. And now after this show, I will not be talking about him as much anymore. I
oh
will
you
I will
saw his
respect the
girlfriend.
little misses.
Oh,
I am
I didn't see her.
she's a little petite thing, but now she's on TikTok. So there's a whole bunch of Eagles girlfriends / wives who have a TikTok page and they
Yeah,
just go
I
out
didn't
and
see
follow each
her.
other. So now that I've seen it, I'm like, okay, the fantasy is dead.
Oh,
I'm
no.
glad he's happy. She's a little thin thing, so he ain't got to worry about no booty. But at the same time, he's happy. So that's all that matters. But we also noticed that Jalen was well, he wasn't even holding hands. She was just close by him because she had shades on. Chick was like, "Don't try to get in my face. Like, I'm here for him. Don't ask me no questions."
Yeah.
Like, he's just walking with him, smiling, but every now and then just keep it to herself. So you could tell she was like, I'm not one of these girlfriends that want to be all up in the camera.
Yeah.
And she's apparently very smart because, of course, the Google Twitter
Yeah.
people found
She's
out her
like
whole background.
she's like a CPA or something like that.
She got an
Something like pre
MBA,
MBA or
girlfriend
something.
smart.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, why would Jalen go for anybody who's a chicken head, right? Like, you expect him to go with a smart, capable woman.
Well,
So,
they tried. Did you see what they tried to say that it was his they were mixing up. They put pictures side by side of her and the agent.
oh, trying
To
to say it was his agent Nicole.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but his agent looks different. Like,
No,
I
totally
mean,
different.
they could
Yeah.
be
No.
maybe cousins, but not. They're
Yeah,
not
no,
not
no,
the
no, no.
same.
But
Yeah,
that's how you know the general public doesn't know how to deal with the fact
yeah.
that now we finally found out who Jalen's with
And his
because everyone
agent, his
thought he was
agent's
single.
pretty too. His agent's
Agent is gorgeous. Nicole, yeah,
yeah,
she's
yeah.
gotten a
She's
lot of
gorgeous,
guys. So her girlfriend is like one of the first huge
blowing
popping
up,
sports
she's
agents
blowing
out
up.
there. Nicole is getting her coin, but shout out to her too because I think she just got recognized in the Essence. But yeah,
Oh,
she's
nice,
about to get
nice.
herself a ring, so I'm happy for her. But yeah, so us delusional fans, thank God, who are on TikTok now making our own little wimpy videos about how we've accepted reality. The one girl who I saw on TikTok who had to lament the fact that she was like, okay, so I didn't know Jalen had a girlfriend, and she's like pulling her hair. She's sitting there going, but as much as I'm happy for him, she's like, I know that I'm slightly delusional. And I was like, oh, thank God somebody else said it. But at the same time, it's like anything that like I just heard on Best Show Ever and Broads was saying the same thing. He's like, I think it's funny that women thought they had a shot. And I would be like, but I agree. It is one of those things that when you don't see it, you just assume, but you should know. All these guys usually are with the same chicks from college and or before they got the check. So
Hmm.
if they trust them before they got the check, because when
Yes,
they get
yeah,
paid, it's a whole different type of, you know,
yeah.
crop out there. But anyway, the bottom line is that bubble has burst. I'm still a fan. Doesn't change. I bought that damn t-shirt, so I am a Goddard fan.
Mm. Of
But
course,
the
you're not gonna change
reality
that. Yeah.
is you will not hear me lusting like I was before.
No, you still keep the dream if you want.
No,
It's okay.
everybody. I mean, yes, crushes are harmless. It's just the fact that
Yeah,
it's not as fun anymore. So obviously that's the whole point.
yeah.
But rounding that out, I'm just saying the Super Bowl is going to be great. I'm sure we're going to have to stick another one in here. I think also too, I might be grabbing some other tweeps of mine who might want to do a Super Bowl link up special because some of them now feel like they want to talk, and I'm just like, oh,
Who?
now you're asking me to
Who?
do a link up. Okay.
Who you trying to get? Who
Well, this
else?
is so the guy, my friend Daryl, who I interviewed for the link up for the men when it was him, Erock and Piclo. He might
Okay.
be available, and then it might be Shay and Terry. Terry was not excited today when she found out that Beyonce's tickets are going on sale and she will be at the link. So it's like she's coming back to the link. Terry's like, I don't want to work with Beyonce.
She's like,
But I'm like, yo, that was the best night that I ushered ever because I ain't do shit but dance. Like
that's you see
I went
nothing
to
but
the
dance.
store. I don't even know if people were fighting behind me. I
You
didn't
like
even care.
it's like fires going on behind you. You're just like,
It's
yeah.
distracting. I'm sitting there like down in the 100 level, and then I'm looking back occasionally, make sure people didn't need me. Then I was like, oh, if they did, I'm like, I can't hear it. Fuck it. So I'm
Turn
just
around, half the
dancing.
stadium's burnt down. You're like, oh.
You know what I mean? Somebody having a fight, somebody mad, somebody in somebody's seat. Thank God all that happened before she even came out. Because when she crosses the stage and walked my direction, I forgot who I was. I was like, anyway. So shout out to the link. Beyonce's coming in
uh,
July, so everybody's gonna be turned up this summer for the Renaissance tour. So just be aware. But lastly, Ed, we're excited about this Super Bowl, but I just had to get this in because I know most likely this will be the longest week and a half,
oh my
almost 10
god.
days before the game that we ever will experience.
Mm.
But I'm excited because I also know what this means. This is probably going to be one of those memorable nights. And I'm just going to say it. I think the Eagles are going to win. I think it's going to be by a field goal. I do not have a score
I think
prediction
I
early.
think yeah, I think it's gonna be close.
I think it's going to be a field goal because I don't think it's be one of these games where
It's well, if you
it'll be
look
a lucky break.
just like against the Patriots that time, if you look at
Yeah.
the Eagles had the better roster and they won.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like we had better skills players, we had better line, better everything, better secondary. Look at
And
Kansas
nothing
City.
was believable until literally 0-0. I think we
Kansas
still
City
are
has
stupefied until 0-0.
Mahomes and Kelsey.
And Kelsey. Now Kelsey has jumped over players and got a touchdown on us, so we're looking
Yeah,
forward
well,
to
you know he's gonna get his. He's gonna get his.
And that's why I say, like, it doesn't matter. The one, if you watch the new Heist from today, he said that he hopes BG doesn't get in his face because he's like, last time he cost me a penalty because I was talking shit. So he said, I'll try to keep my temperature. I try to, but he goes, Jason said, that's all BG does is talk shit. So you just got
Yo, yeah, you might as well take it because BG. Oh god,
BG
he's like,
don't stop.
did you see the boy? He's like, I'm coming for you.
Yes.
Yeah. He's like number 62. You see me? I'm right here. I'm coming for you.
That's what and that's what they reminisce. They said the whole time they walked up during the coin flip with the former players. That's all he was. So he was just talking the whole time.
But
and
did you?
Fletch was like, "I'm so embarrassed." Like he's laughing though.
Yeah. Did you hear what? Was it? Who did Fletch say? Oh no, was it Kelsey told him don't trash talk this guy? I gotta block this guy later
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah. Because Fletch said, "Why you trash talking someone you ain't got to block?"
Yeah, Kelsey was like, I gotta block this guy. What are you
Right.
doing?
That's what Kelsey said. He was just like, "I need you to." He's like, "Calm down."
I
He
need
goes,
you
"Because
not to
I
get
have
him.
to block him.
Like, don't get him upset.
Don't get him all riled up before I get a chance." So no, that's funny though, because I think that just shows you. And now they're saying, rumor has it that BG's saying he was not planning on retiring next year. So whether or not he ends up being an
He'd run it
Eagle, he's
back.
probably gonna go somewhere and retire.
I was listening to an interview. He said he wants to run it back because he's still got enough. His contract's not over yet.
No, he's still got one more year. That's why I say, like, I keep forgetting they kept him for 2 more years.
I think
so
he may finish it out.
He should. I wouldn't. Again, I never see any purpose in someone leaving when they have that few years left. It's like, why go somewhere and be there for just like a year? It's going to be totally different. You spent most of your adversity in the city and you've had your success, so you might as well just stay and seal the deal. You know, I mean, we all know what BJ went through with us with the fans early before he even got good. So he's already grown as a man 10 times over. Why would you want to go anywhere else? Once you survive Philly, it's like you pretty much run Philly.
Yeah, he's gonna want to walk out from here and hang it up at that point. He don't want to go nowhere else.
Perfect time you said that. As we end, the GOAT has finally for real retired Tom Brady.
He said for real. He said for real this time.
He put his video out before anyone did. I'm sure Shefty was pissed.
I saw it. Yeah,
on purpose.
I saw it. Yeah.
He was like, F all of y'all. I am saying it. While I'm on the beach, it is time to shut it down.
I mean,
happy retirement.
Happy retirement. He has nothing else to prove.
No, he doesn't.
Just go.
Ring on every single finger. What else are you doing, kid? Like,
yeah, it's
every player wants to be that. Like,
enjoy your kids while you can before if you get too old. Like,
and they don't know you because you're never around as much.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Someone like him gets absorbed in the game so much that he forgets to be a father, and you have to remember that that's why you made them children, whether you like it or not.
And somebody made a comment. About it. Yeah, well, it's people like, oh, well, why is he not walking away? Like, it's hard to walk away from something that you love doing. And that you can still physically do too, because he can still physically do it.
He can. I mean, I definitely would like. I can't wait to see him get a little fat in the face because he definitely got too thin for me. I was like, yo, what is going on with Brady? It's like stress. All the face just dwindled down after the divorce. But no, I agree.
That's probably stress. Yeah.
It had to be stress because he looked worse than he did the year before, and that's why I was like, that's not good. He don't even look like he's eating. But it's a life change. And at the end of the day, you can't let people push you out when you're not ready. And I think that's what his message was this past year, was that I wasn't ready. And now I'm ready, So it's a lesson to everybody, He's
going to work for Fox.
Getting paid. Don't matter what he do. He's going to make money with his eyes closed. I feel like he has no personality.
Fox. We'll see how that works out.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it took a while for people to warm up to Romo, so I don't know what Tommy's going to do, but
we'll see what he's going to do.
I will not be shocked if he's boring, because he's just not a personality type dude.
Hey, look, if Greg Olsen can do it.
See, Greg Olsen too sounds nerdy, which to me means he's qualified, because I feel like if the more you talk about sports, like you're almost even more excited than you were when you played, that means that was, to me, that's your thing. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, whereas Mark Sanchez sounds like he's bored and he just wants to have a beer, but he just got the mic, and it's like, sit down, boy. Like, just stick to your podcast. Like, you are not an analyst.
He's actually not. I saw him on the Herd. He wasn't that bad.
He might be getting more. He might be. I think
he's getting a little better. Yeah.
Yeah, like some of these players, it takes a while.
And Gronk, oh my God, I just wish he would walk away from that job, because
Gronk is just not a personality like.
I don't know what it is. Like, I'm still convinced.
I mean, he's slowly starting to come out of the thing, but
I'm still convinced that he can't read. Like.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
No, I'm joking. Let me stop. That's not nice.
No. We know what Gronk is.
But he just seems like it. Like, I
He's
don't know
not
who
someone
it
I wanna
is.
watch and listen to and talk analytics. Like, I'd rather look at Tony
Yeah.
Gonzalez. At least Tony Gonzalez likes talking, even if he sounds like a dad sometimes, at least he's good to look at, and I feel like Tony knows the game, so he's a Hall of Famer. I don't want any of these guys getting these jobs anymore just because they used to play sports. It's just not as exciting. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather a guy who actually knows how to talk sports. That's the one thing I'll give Romo, is that his excitement about when he first started commentating, even though he would predict the plays before they happen because that's the quarterback in him, he stopped doing that. But I think his excitement during a really exciting game, especially last year when it was the what was it, the wild card with I don't think it was wild card. It was Kansas City and the Bills that time that game really came down to overtime. That was the best comment. That was the best commentating he had done because he got that game. That was exciting. And I usually hate CBS games, but he makes them exciting.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, if you can't just be a retired player and just automatically have it. Some guys just don't have it.
Some guys are just better at it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I get it, like and Michael Vick, I had to warm up to him too on Fox, but now he's cool because Vick is so low key and so soft spoken at halftime be like, I don't even know what he said. He just
I
looks
like
good.
and I do like RG3 doing college stuff, man. He's good. RG's
RG3
pretty
makes
good.
sense. Yeah, he makes
Yeah.
sense now. He's just very hyper, but sometimes he says some stuff that I want to be like, boy, you are still clueless, but it's all right.
I like Shady on the speak.
Shady's growing. But see, Shady naturally to me has that ability because he seems like he talks a lot of crap anyway. So I feel like he
Yeah.
has that's why he was perfect on I Am Athlete because he was known to talk mess. So that was just the perfect form for
Yeah.
him.
I
But
don't know.
yeah, it's just not easy to cross over. Let's put it that
Sometimes
way.
I like Emmanuel Ancho, sometimes I don't. Like it just
Well, Acho lost me after the whole
he
thing
just
back and
comes
forth with
across
him
as
and Dan.
really fake to me. Like when he's talking
Well,
about stuff.
when you're a former player and it took you so long to finally get some kind of respect, I feel like that's where his cockiness comes from.
And
Is
I
that
did watch that thing that you
you did
sent
watch
me.
the interview? That's what I'm talking about. I don't like him
Yeah.
too much after that because I felt like Van pulled his car without even trying,
And I
and
think
he was mad about it.
he I think he took it personally when he shouldn't have, because that wasn't Van's purpose of saying that to him.
And he kept saying that to him. That's why
Van was just trying to give him some feedback, not like, you know, not he wasn't coming at him. It wasn't a personal attack. He was just letting him
I think
know.
he was trying to nudge him. I think he was more just trying to say like,
Let you
do
know, hey,
better.
this is what you should do. Like
Right.
not that you're being a horrible person, but because he said, oh, look, I don't think Emmanuel's a bad person. I think he's a good
No.
person.
And
He
he's
just
not,
said
but what he's not connecting to is why he's telling him this.
is what he's doing.
It's
Yes.
what he's doing and how he's
Yeah.
doing it. And at the end of the day, I get it. The more he answered him back and said, like, well, I'm not going to criticize you about how you do stuff. And I'm like, that's not the point. The point is, even if you did say that, I know what I'm doing doesn't always agree with everybody. My point
Yeah.
with you is you had an opportunity to really cross a barrier and you did it ended with a handshake
He
instead of
took it. Yeah, he took the soft way of doing
provoking.
it.
Yeah.
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 He took
And
the
it almost seems like,
approach.
why do you bother?
Well, he could have used that opportunity to educate the people that he was talking to
Right.
instead of calling them,
Yeah,
instead of
instead of doing
coddling
the TV
them.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah, like,
coddling, because
but
that was the whole thing with Goodell. It was like, why even do that interview when you know he's not going to ever
yeah,
tell the truth about Kaepernick? Because that's all
exactly.
you wanted to hear.
Yeah.
If he didn't have anything different to say, then that was a waste of an interview. Like, that's why Van said, like, luckily it was during quarantine when all this started popping off because he probably wouldn't have watched it.
Mm-hmm.
Which I understood because I watched it too, and I was more cringeworthy. On the one with about the interracial relationships, because Lindsey Vonn shortly after that broke up with her black boyfriend, so she clearly didn't understand that whole point of that conversation either.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you've been with that dude for a long time, and up until the show, all of a sudden now their relationship fizzled. Like, unless she realized she had no clue as to why she was there, like. That lack of connection was the whole point of the uncomfortable conversations, which means you probably haven't had an uncomfortable conversation with your black boyfriend.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? So that's all Van's saying. Like, is any of this stuff really connecting to the people that you're trying to confront? No. So then why are you doing it?
Mm-hmm.
And, people understand what uncomfortable conversations is. That's why you get on Twitter. You get on Twitter, you see how people really read people. That's the stuff that you need to do in person. A lot of people can't handle the truth.
Oh yeah. Well, a lot of people get they get that when they're actually typing stuff instead of actually talking to somebody.
Oh yeah, not
like,
some Nazis. We know that everybody says a lot more shit on Twitter than they do in person, but the reality is, even with your family members, it's very hard to really be abrupt. But some circumstances just call for it, and like he said, you're in a position where you can affect millions with just one conversation, and you're still not having the real conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why higher learning is why it's called higher learning, because even Van has grown as they've done this show, because this show started from lockdown too.
There's been times when I didn't like Van.
No, and he knows that. There are
No,
times I've had to speed through some episodes because he's just a little too extra, and he knows it now. But the
yeah,
difference is he probably wasn't aware of it because nobody probably told him
but
until he
yeah,
started making people feel uncomfortable.
yeah, but he'll admit it though. Now he does anyway. He'll
Yeah,
admit
he's
it.
mindful of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not like he's just shooting stuff from the hip and not caring. He's
Hmm.
realizing some stuff just will not translate unless he puts it in a different way.
Yeah.
And that's all he was trying to say with the manual. Like, if you put it in a way that really makes people feel uncomfortable, that now you have to understand what exactly is your brand. Because if you were
Yeah.
really trying to make people feel better who are known as oppressors,
Hmm.
then you shouldn't even touch that issue, bro. Because you don't even know what oppressor is.
Yeah, because he really didn't listen to anything that he said.
He really didn't. He just got defensive.
He just went on. Yeah, he just went on the defense and was like,
I'm queen of getting on the defensive. So I know when you think you're hearing somebody, but you're not hearing them because you're in your feelings. That's what he was doing. That's why the whole time I think even Rachel was like, she noticed like she
and
had to step in.
Rachel tried to give him an out, just like
She
you
did
said.
try to get him out. She
She
was more just
tried.
like,
She
let's
tried.
get back to the original part of this
Well,
conversation. Like,
yeah.
let's not try to
Uh
expose
huh.
anybody.
Yeah, and
You
she tried to
know,
give Manuel a way to actually explain himself, but he never
he's
took
still
that
coward.
opportunity. Never took that opportunity. So.
He's still coward, and he still found a way to make himself look like the victim. And then the fact that later they still were tweeting at each other like a day after it came out,
Hmm.
because that was filmed like the week prior. So it's like, if the fact that they're still shooting at each other back and forth on Twitter shows that Emmanuel didn't get it. And
Yeah.
that's the sad reality, is he still doesn't get it.
Yeah, he doesn't get the fact there was no ill will and like there was
That
no
wasn't the
ill
point.
wasn't the point of that whole conversation at all.
Yeah.
So.
And the funny thing was, Rachel said she was at a costume party. I think it was the pod before that pod, because they did stuff out of sequence. And she said that she was at a 2000 party and he showed up. And she said it was really interesting. And he goes, Acho was there, and she goes, yeah. And he's like, did he speak? She's like, yeah. He just said hey. And he was like,
Hmm.
because he's like, I'll acknowledge you, but I ain't gotta like you now. You know.
Yeah.
He's gonna feel like the victim. And I'm like, knowing from a person like my sensitive ass can have done that too. I know that kind of feeling.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you have to realize what the real meaning of the conversation was. It wasn't about hurting your feelings. It's like, listen to what the fuck he's trying to tell you.
Hmm.
But sometimes you get too in your feelings and you just turn off. And
Yeah.
it'll probably take him a while to really realize what he was saying, but his ego won't let him.
Yeah.
But hell.
But hey,
Anyway.
that's another time we talk
It's
about that
another time, but the
scenario.
point was, tie it all into the fact that there was a lot of stuff happening as we were going to
Yeah.
record. So I had to say happy retirement. I wanted to bring out the whole situation with that O lineman that's not a starter from the Eagles is going to not be traveling with them to Arizona because he was accused of kidnapping and raping somebody in 2019. For some reason, it came up again. I don't know if it was
Yeah.
indicted today or they knew about it and it just came out. I don't know. The point
Hmm.
is, this is not a player we normally see, so it doesn't really matter if he's
Is he on a
scumbag.
is he on the squad or something?
I think he might be.
I
Yeah,
don't, I don't think he's on the active roster.
I don't think he's definitely not active roster. I feel like
Yeah.
I've heard his name in preseason, so maybe it was one of them guys who was on the bubble anyway.
Hmm.
But it's just the fact that that came out for some reason. So we don't want this to cloud over Super Bowl because it had nothing to do with this current roster. So we don't keep people. But anyway, all right, Ed, I gotta go.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was good to have this talk, as I always
Yes.
try to be on a certain
Let's do it.
time.
Let's
We
do it
try
one
to,
more time before the Super Bowl. I guess we'll do
we're
it.
definitely going to fill in because there's going to be a lot of people who all of a sudden want to talk. So expect more than one or two pods this next week, people. So consider yourself blessed with Birds of a Feather Coed edition. It's AJ Suburban Princess.
Eddie
All
B.
right, Eddie B, and we're going to return next week. Y'all be safe. Go Sixers and anybody else Philadelphia. We
Hmm.
out.
Yeah.